the internship arc, the staying arc, whatever you want to call it, about to go a whole different direction than what you thinking, bro. Internships. The way that internships in My Hero Academia work is gonna be completely different than it is than it is in canon. Basically, like I completely tweaked the entire internship program and how it works. Basically, an internship is like a long term investment. Like it's like getting drafted or like signed to a big record label. The hero that you intern for will be the hero that you stick with until you graduate high school. Basically, the hero that you intern for um, will be the hero that you eventually become the sidekick of, if you're powerful enough. The hero that you do your work study with, all of that shit. Like anything that you do that revolves around pros and sidekick work and intern, all that shit. Like you do it with the same person. From when you're a first year to when you're a third year. And the big deal about internships and investments like that is that they can only have one intern for every year. So usually when you get picked up as an intern, the hero will either need to get to know you first and like see what you can do and then make you their sidekick, or you'll be powerful enough out the gate to where they'll just choose you to be their sidekick. And every pro hero is allowed to have anywhere between 1 and 3 sidekicks, and they can have one sidekick from every year of high school, basically. Um, so, for example, somebody like I don't know, like Endeavor, like Shoto would be his first year sidekick, and would do her internship with him, type shit, um, and her work studies and all of that shit. So it's basically like you got to think ahead of time. Like, is this somebody that I'm worth investing in? Which also makes internships very rare. Not very rare, but like they're very hard to get. Like you have to really impress somebody to get an internship with them. Um, and your internship license will be easily taken away. Um, basically, okay, I just skipped over an entire section. Basically, if you intern with somebody and they see that you have potential and they say that they want you to be one of their sidekicks, um, they can basically get you this thing called a sidekick license, which basically allows you to do hero work, any type of hero work, but only while you're an intern with the hero. So you can go on missions with them. You can assist them with evacuating a city, shit like that. You can do big time hero missions, but like as a sidekick type shit. And your hero license and internship will be taken away, or like your sidekick license and internship will be taken away if you start to fail any of your classes, or if you get into any trouble, and you'll have to completely earn all those back and like get the trust back and all that shit. Sidekicks, again, every hero has an agency, or like every hero with an agency, um, can have the chance to have a sidekick from every year of high school, and it doesn't have to just be from UA. So, for example, a pro hero could have that first year from Shiketsu and Mirio both in their agency because they're both from different years, and it doesn't matter what school they're from. However, they do have the chance to just not like choose to not have a sidekick at all. Like just because you're a hero and you have an agency and you're popular doesn't mean that you're forced to have a sidekick. Also, you're only a sidekick to a hero during your 3 years at UA. So after your 3 years of UA, you become an official pro yourself, and like you can start your own agency. Like once you graduate, not even just UA. Once you graduate hero school, um, you officially enter the charts and you become your own hero. That's why somebody like Night Eye wouldn't be considered All Might's sidekick anymore. Like he's his own hero because he's not in high school anymore. And that's how I'm gonna explain that. I don't care what anybody says. Um, like fuck it. If you're a sidekick, you can do hero work, but only when you're with your pro. So you can't just like if you have your sidekick license, you can't just go out in the city and do shit like just save people. Like nah. You need to have your what's it called? Your remedial license or whatever. Like they'll get those later, but like if you get a sidekick license, it's like a big honor because you're basically taking a huge step ahead, because you're allowed to take a leave from school if your pro says that they need you for an important mission. For example, like raiding the Shihasakai hideout or something like that. Also, being picked up for an internship is kind of rare, like really really rare. And becoming a sidekick is even more rare, because usually heroes will just have you there, um, to like train you about shit and never decide to make you their sidekick because like they're solo heroes, like somebody like Mirko, because they don't need a sidekick, but they are willing to train you, and it's not like if you get picked up by a hero and they don't choose you to be their sidekick, it's not like you're weak. It's just like they don't think that they need a sidekick, but they are willing to train you. It's actually an honor. But yeah, that's how internships works basically, and it's very rare for you to get one. But Deku does get an internship. Bakugo gets an internship. Jiro gets an internship. Zenitsu gets an internship. Tokoyami gets an internship, and and that's it for right now. That's all the people in class 1A. Or that's all. Yeah, that's all the people in class 1A, or like all the first years that get internships. Deku, I'm not gonna reveal who he does his internship with yet. Bakugo does his internship with Best Jeanist. Oh, also you get to choose if you want to do an internship with somebody. So Shoto, of course, chose against doing an internship with her dad. But Bakugo does his internship with Best Jeanist. So eventually, later down the line, he will be the sidekick of Best Jeanist, and that's gonna be dope as shit. Jiro, of course, does her internship with her dad and will be her dad's sidekick eventually. Zenitsu, this is gonna be an OP team, but he does his internship with Midnight, which them two together is gonna be crazy, and that's how Zenitsu's gonna, like, Zenitsu is basically gonna take the next step into becoming a hero by teaming with Midnight, and I'll explain that in a little bit. And Tokoyami basically goes with Hawks like he does in canon. And I know some of y'all are like, oh, how you just gonna just not tell us who Deku does his internship with? That's fucked up. If Bakugo goes to Best Jeanist and Tokoyami goes to Hawks, that only leaves like Endeavor and All Might himself for Deku to intern with. Who is Deku gonna intern with? You gotta reveal it. You gotta reveal it. Do I really? Do I really gotta reveal it? Is that serious? Fuck. Like, I'm over here thinking I have a choice in the matter. But apparently I don't. So fuck. It's honestly kind of tough. Deku does his internship. Deku does his internship with Kamui Woods. Let me stop. The reason he picks Kamui Woods is because he feels like they're... No. Hold up. That's kind of an OP team. Nah, scratch what I just said. Shiozaki does her internship with Kamui Woods. Deku does his internship with the shield hero Crust. Yo? Deku and Crust? Because Crust can make shields, and his shields can't attack, but they're mostly defensive. And if Crust can do that, and Deku is like the ultimate spear, they're kind of like those dudes from the Shihasakai. They're the ultimate spear and a sword. So yeah, Deku does do his internship with Crust. And you know what? Fuck it. Kirishima does his internship with Fat Gum. Just because, like, why not? Honestly, why not? There's no reason why I wouldn't put Kirishima with Fat Gum. Very good influence on him, I feel like. And he would have a really good, like, chemistry with Amajiki or Tamajiki or whatever. So yeah, that's where they go. And what happens with Stain? I know you guys are wondering, like, okay, if everyone's like spread out across the board and no one's with Endeavor or Gran Torino, then what happens with Stain? Ida doesn't go after Stain because he knows like he doesn't have any way to get there, like to that city, since like internships are more rare and like lesser known heroes are less likely to offer an internship to somebody because it's very unlikely that they'll get accepted. Like they won't even Jesus. They won't even like take the lottery or like the gamble because they'll risk looking stupid. Especially like UA students. If you're like somebody like Manuel, why would you offer somebody like Tenya Ida an internship? So he doesn't even like get any offers near there. But basically, Ida begs and like pleads to Deku to heal his brother. And, you know, Deku does, and Ida then basically like cries and thanks him so much, and he fucks with Deku heavy, cause even though like him and Deku have beef because of what Ida did on the first day of school, and like they have their own problems or whatever, and they're not really like the closest of friends. Deku still helped the classmate out and a person who was in need out when they needed him, and not only saved his brother, but like he helped him emotionally, and that's like he did not have to do that. Like there was no requirement that said that he needed to heal somebody if they're injured. It's honestly his quirk, it's his choice, and he did that shit. So like Ida really fucks with Deku. And Stain is basically like very, very wanted, and he's still with the League of Villains. Like Stain is a member of the League of Villains, and all the people that join the League of Villains get to hear his ideals from his head. And since he wasn't caught or defeated, like he is a member of that whole group that I was listing earlier. And actually, I'm gonna make Stain a little bit more like OP. He gets a quirk from All For One, and it's basically like a blood bending quirk. So he could, like, if he sees a wound and he like can't get the blood off of you, he can basically like telepathically control the blood and have it come towards him. So even if he cuts you and you get away, you're still not safe. Like you cannot be cut by him because he can bloodbend. It's over. Like he can't bloodbend through skin, but if there's an open scab wound and there is blood seeping out, he can like drain you of all of your blood basically, if you have an open flesh wound. So Stain's even more crazy than he is in canon, and he's a loose cannon. He's on the loose now. You know, everyone gets back from their not back from their internships because their internships are gonna last like for a long time. But the students versus teachers, basically everyone passes. Like all the students pass. Okay. After Stain's whole attack on a villain, you know, he does join the League of Villains like officially, and this is when Shigaraki's plan starts to go in canon. But now I need to go more in depth about Shigaraki. Basically, at the end of the season, like after the students versus teachers arc, like when the students fight all the pros and they get their like they pass their finals or whatever, like the final exam, all the students go to the mall and they go shopping, and Shigaraki interacts with Deku, and that's basically what I'm about to cover. In the canon, the class all go to the mall and Deku gets confronted by Shigaraki. However, Shigaraki's ideals and most of the shit about him are changed in this what if. Like, he doesn't wear the hands on his face. He wears like a cloak, but he wears like a suit under it. He kind of looks like he wears like a really tight fitting suit, like all black shirt, black tie, everything. And he wears like a kind of like a little jacket, like that thing he was wearing when he took all Overhaul's hands away in the anime, like in the canon. Like he wears one of those with a suit underneath it, and he doesn't wear the hands on his body, because he's truly liberated, like even more in canon. But the problem is he never awakened his quirk. Like his quirk is still the weak version that it is. However, he's on the verge of becoming unbeatable because All For One's about to give him the All For One quirk. So basically, Shigaraki just wants to kill all heroes and liberate Hero Society to the point where anybody can use their powers for any reason at any time. And Shigaraki is way smarter in this what if. He's not as childish. Because All For One raised him kind of like actually like a son. Like he didn't like he did emotionally manipulate Shigaraki, but he did like actually care for him and show compassion towards him. And so he did like train him and make him have like strong ideals and like he knew that Shigaraki was going to be evil. So there was no reason to force his ideals onto Shigaraki. He knew that Shigaraki would carry on destruction in his own wake, in his own like way. You know what I mean? So Shigaraki has already created the Paranormal Liberation Front. He already made his alliance with Overhaul, with Nine, and with Redestro, which are three very powerful allies. He already has Gigantomachia on his side because he's way easier to respect in this one, since he isn't as childish and isn't as one-track minded. But you know, Shigaraki would basically interact with DEKU, and you know DEKU, basically Shigaraki would say, "If you move, I will kill everybody in this damn joint." And you know they would have the conversation. DEKU would say the same thing that he says to him in canon, like you're bugging, like you need to chill out, like you know he would just tell him off, and you know Shigaraki would fade into the crowd. You know the police would get called and everyone would like be worried, but yeah. So the Forest Training Camp arc. By this time, Shigaraki has already received All For One. And basically, what happened was when All For One gave the quirk to Shigaraki, he knew that he was gonna pass away. Cause mind you, Kamino like hasn't happened. Bakugo hasn't been kidnapped yet. All For One's not in prison, and so All For One's gonna make this like final move and pass on his entire ideals and everything, like his quirk to Shigaraki, so he can carry on as the new symbol of horror, and the symbol of destruction, because he doesn't see any reason for him to keep on living. Basically, he already created his successor, and his legacy will be cemented through Shigaraki's will and Shigaraki's destruction of Hero Society. So he would give his quirk to Shigaraki, and literally like within that minute he would pass away due to an overexposure to too many quirks. They would try and salvage his body and salvage the quirks that he had and turn him into a Nomu, but his body would already be like completely destroyed. He would explode basically, so there's no way to recover him or any of the quirks that he had stockpiled. So they would just return back to the original user, which most of them are dead. But you know, some of the people that quirk he took, some of the quirks that he took from people, like the people are still alive, so they just return back to the person that had them. But when Shigaraki gets All For One, it basically like fuses with his decay quirk, and it makes it so that the only way he can take somebody's quirk is if he kills them with decay first. So, if he completely decays somebody's body, their quirk gene will be transferred into his. But if somebody survives his decay, then their quirk won't like fully transfer over to him. So he has to like literally fully decay somebody to take their quirk. That's one. And two, if he wants to give a quirk to somebody, he has to decay their body. But however, the decay doesn't have to spread throughout their entire body. They just need to be affected by decay. And then like the decay will act as like a disease and spread the quirk that he wants to give throughout the person's body. Their skin will start to appear cracked and shit. So if Shigaraki gives somebody a quirk, you can tell because they have cracks all over their body, but they're not fully decayed. There is a procedure that you can undergo by like Dr. Ujiko, and you basically get put in a chamber, and your quirks start to the quirk starts to settle within your body, and the decay effect starts to wear away, but you still have scars from it. Like you'll look like fucking Killmonger, just scratches all over your body from where the decay was. But yeah, Shigaraki is about to be on a war path. basically, during the forest, Deku wouldn't be the one to go help Koda. Because I'm going to just skip the whole going through the forest part. We need to get to the fight. Bakugo would have the interaction with Koda, and, you know, he would rescue him from Spinner instead of Muscular, since Muscular's on a completely different hero team. You know, Bakugo would use his flashbang to blind Spinner. Like, he would use Stun Grenade to blind Spinner, and then he would use a 25% Detroit Smash, which will knock him out, and then he flies away, like, using his explosions. Kind of like Shinra from Fire Force. Like, he just, like, a Dola Burst type beat with Koda in his arms, and then, you know, Deku is trying his best to fight, but he's on a completely other side of the forest. And he's going against, like, some powerful people himself, like, you know, fucking Dobby, Compress, you know, everyone's just fighting their heart out. You know, All Might, they didn't see any reason to bring All Might on this mission. And, you know, All Might's still doing his symbol of peace teams. He's on his number one hero type beat. So, they really can't do anything. And basically the same thing happens as in canon, except for, like, you know, everyone who gets injured just gets healed by Deku. And, you know, Bakugo still does get captured. They do raid the hideout. You know, they rescue Bakugo and shit. The person who, like the people who go and help Bakugo are basically Deku, Zenitsu, Momo, Ida, Momo, Ida, and Ochako. They all go to save. No. Momo, Ida, Ochako, and Shoto. They all go to save Bakugo, basically. So all 6 of them go to rescue this one guy. You know, the heroes do get into a confrontation with the League, and it's like every member of the League of Villains is there. So every member except for Deadpool is there. Because Moonfish never got beat by Tokoyami. Because I'm going to say that Dark Shadow doesn't rampage in this one. Like, he doesn't have, like, a rampage mode. Like, he can have a rampage mode, but he can control it. So he never went, like, completely wild to the point where he couldn't hold back. So Moonfish was able to, like, stab Tokoyami in the foot or something and defeat him. And since he had control over Dark Shadow, like, there was no response. Like, Dark Shadow couldn't do anything to help him. So Moonfish did escape. Actually, all of the League escaped to the hideout, including Spinner. I'm gonna just say, like, Compress or somebody, like, got him, scooped him up before he could get captured. So it's all of the villains that were there at the Camino battle. So Kamui Woods, Best Genius, Mount Lady, Edge Shot, all of them. And against the League of Villains that I explained, without Deadpool, of course, because, you know, Deadpool still has to keep that secret identity. Going up against the heroes. And, you know, the League would basically, like, they would just start crushing shit. Like, they okay, so Toga, I'm gonna say that the people who are fighting are Shigaraki, Dobby. No. I'm gonna say the people who are fighting are Dobby, Twice, who already knows Sadman's Parade, Overhaul, Spinner, Moonfish, and Magna. And Deadpool, Toga, and Shigaraki are off, like, they already escaped with Kurogiri. And basically, like, they said that they could handle the villains. Like, Overhaul said, like, go ahead, Shigaraki, like, we'll meet up with y'all later, like, get away. And, you know, Toga can't really fight like that. Like, she knows hand-to-hand combat. She's like a perfect assassin and a really good spy, but she's not going hand-to-hand with Edge Shot. I mean, maybe, but, like, her quirk isn't suited for fighting against people with, like, power types. So what happens is Spinner basically crawls up Mount Lady's side by, like, scratching into her legs and, like, tries to, like, eat her face off damn near. Moonfish is taking care of Ed Shot. I'm gonna say Magna's fighting Conway Woods. You know, Compress is just trying to like I'm gonna say Compress also went away with Shigaraki and Toga and them. And, you know, Dabi's just using his blue flames to just wreak havoc on anybody who like tries to get close to them. You know, Twice is just using his clones to like assist and help everybody. And if he makes multiple clones of Shigaraki, of Overhaul, it's over. So, you know, there's multiple Overhauls, multiple Twices, multiple Dabis, and the heroes are just getting like ransacked. And by this time, the students are already away and they're watching this all on the news. And then, like, everyone just hears from like a distance, "Ha ha ha! I am here!" And everyone, like the villains, the heroes sigh and they're like, "Oh my god, thank you." And the villains are like, wait, what the fuck? And, you know, Shigaraki's also watching from a broadcast station. I'm gonna say that they transported it back to like a different hideout. You know, they were watching on the TV and they're like, wait, All Might, how is he still so powerful? Because, you know, All Might's just he's speed blitzing through these clones. And you know, basically he says like, "Students, some of your pros are here. If your pros are in this presence, or like if your pros are here currently, I know that some of you are here. You have permission to be their sidekicks in this moment." And you know, who did I say Ed Shot did his internship? Or like who did I say was the intern of Ed Shot? Wait. Ed Shot and King. You know what? Yeah. Just for storyline convenience, I'm gonna change something that I said. I don't know if I made Ed Shot have another person as an intern, but fuck it. His first year intern is gonna be Deku basically, and I think that he could learn a lot of precision from Ed Shot, and that they would be a really good team in tandem. So not only is Bakugo now allowed to fight, even though he doesn't have his hero uniform, but Deku's allowed to fight, even though he doesn't have his hero uniform. And Deku would have Spirit Chastiful with him, but Bakugo's basically fighting without any support items, and Deku's basically fighting without any of his armor or anything. But they both do decide that they want to fight. But no one else can really do anything unless I'm mistaken. Like, is there anybody else that's there that could actually like help? I mean, I know Kirishima's there. He did an internship with Fat Gum. Fat Gum's not there. Best Jeanist. Shiozaki's not there. So Conway Woods doesn't really matter. Yeah, it's literally just Deku and Bakugo. So All Might is speed blitzing through the clones, and I'm gonna say at this point Twice is just making too many clones. So wait, Zenitsu did his hero internship? Fuck it. I'm gonna say that Zenitsu Midnight was there. But you know, she was like focusing on trying to like she didn't really know what she could do, because what she did when she raided the base was she tried to make everybody go asleep, but Kurogiri just teleported her smoke somewhere else, so she was pretty much rendered useless. But now that they're given permission to fight alongside of their pros, Zenitsu basically like runs up to Midnight. He's like, knock me out. And Midnight's like, are you sure? Like, are you sure you can handle this? And Zenitsu's like, please. And, you know, Zenitsu gets knocked out, and he runs as fast as he can to the dorms at UA, like across cities to the dorms at UA, and gets everyone's hero uniforms, like runs into the rooms. He doesn't give a shit. Gets everyone's hero uniforms, like Bakugo and Deku's hero uniforms. And he basically is like, yo, like, put on whatever support items you need, whatever you need. Like, if you put on your entire costume, I don't care. Like, we need to suit up. You know, they suit up, and then they go on to the battlefield. And basically the entire league, like Overhaul hasn't, like, they haven't killed anybody yet, but they've really fucked people up. Best Jeanist has a gaping hole through his chest because Overhaul gave him the night eye treatment. um, Kamui Woods is completely knocked out. Mount Lady's completely like her half of her face is eaten and like her arm is bitten. Like all what's it called? Spinner was literally like biting her, like trying to eat her. He jumps down from her face, and all the league is lined up, or like everyone that's there, including Dabi. Zenitsu's in his lightning form. He has his blade drawn, or like he's in like his little blade stance like these. Like he's literally looks like this except for his eyes are open. Deku. In this fight, I'm gonna say Deku got his armor on. So Deku's in full Escanor mode. Bakugo got this on. So they ready. They ready to fight. Zenitsu looks at Bakugo and Deku, and then he looks at All Might. He's like, now, All Might's like, take care of the one who can make copies of people first. And then Zenitsu goes to strike, and Escanor just like Deku just basically like sits there and he stands there and he's like, why would you even try and fight us? Just turn yourselves in. And, Twice is like, there's no way you can beat me. I can make and in a split second, Twice is literally like in the air being launched backwards. And then Escanor's like, I pity you, villain. And he jumps up like super high up into the air at super high speeds and grabs Twice by the ankle, and he's like, this is your downfall. And he just throws him at the floor. He just chucks him at the floor at full speed. And Twice just breaks every bone in his body, and Twice is completely knocked out, and there's no way that he's waking back up. So now it's literally just Dabi, Overhaul, Magna, Spinner, and Moonfish versus Deku, Bakugo, Zenitsu, and All Might. And they all have and the students have their support items and shit, and they're in their strongest forms. And, basically Kirigiri teleports everyone away. But what they weren't expecting is for Shigaraki to hop out. And, Shigaraki hops out of the portal, and, Escanor's like, oh, do you want to face my mighty divine axe Rita too? And, Shigaraki's basically like, so this is it, huh? This is the day where I finally kill the symbol of peace and take that quirk that he holds so dear away from him. Today is the day that I prove myself as the symbol of evil, as a symbol of destruction. It feels nice. The weather, kind of cold. It's a night sky. Impaled heroes all around me. And he lets off a little chuckle like, impaled heroes all around me. And the dead number one standing right in front of me. And All Might's like, what are you talking about? I'm not dead. And basically he realizes like his foot, like he loses his balance. And, Escanor jumps back. And no, Zenitsu like moves Bakugo out of the way, and he tries to grab Escanor, but he can't grab Escanor. But Escanor realizes it and jumps away. They're looking, and All Might's leg is completely decayed, and he just cuts it off like awesome Aizawa shit. If you read the manga, he just chops off his leg with his hand. He jumps up, and he's like, what the hell? His regeneration starts to kick in, and Shigaraki's like, so you have a new factor to your quirk that I'm unaware of. I can't wait to figure out how you got that. And, All Might's like, you will not win this battle. Escanor's like, bruh, you're gonna die. You should not have crossed All Might. Now Bakugo's gonna kill you. Look. And, basically, Shigaraki says, if anybody steps anywhere near me, you die. And, basically Escanor would say, well, it's a good thing I could fly then. And he would throw a Divine Axe Rita at him. And In the most shocking scene of the entire show, yes, I'm really about to do this shit. Shigaraki reacts so fast to this, and he grabs Divine Axe Rita. Like he like it gets thrown at him, and he holds it in his hand. Like, and as it touches his hand, it completely decays. And Deku reverts back to his fairy form, and he's like, "Wait, what?" And he's like, "Oh," and Shigaraki's like, "Oh, so that's where all your power came from. Well, it looks like you can't really do anything now, Fairy King." And Deku's just completely in shock, because it was said that the Spirit Chastity was supposed to be unbreakable, and Shigaraki literally just decayed it into nothingness. And basically Shigaraki would jump up, like really high up into the air, and this would shock everybody. And he would start to like walk on air, like as if he was walking on like an invisible staircase, and he would walk down to All Might. Everyone, like, All Might's frozen in fear. Deku can't do anything. Bakugo just doesn't know how to react, because he's like, what is this power? And Zenitsu's like, he's ready to strike. Shigaraki would start stepping towards All Might, and he would grab All Might and jump down, and no one, like, they didn't know how to react. They didn't know what to do. Because Shigaraki is, at this point, if you even touch Shigaraki or even try to touch him, anything that touches him is going to decay. So he turns off his decay for a split second and then jumps down. He pretty much like holds All Might, because at this point, like, when he jumped down, he slammed All Might's head into the concrete, and he reacted, like, he was moving so fast that All Might didn't even have the wherewithal or like the time to react. And he would basically like hold All Might up by like his little hair, like the way that his hair points up. He would grab both of the bunny ears and like hold him up, and he would look at him in the camera, or like he would point his face towards the camera, and he would decay both of his eyes, and he would decay both of his eyes, and then he would use like his strength enhancer, which I'm not gonna reveal what it really is yet, but he would use his strength enhancing quirk that he has to just drill holes through All Might's eyes, making it so that the decay would stop. He would be like, so this is supposed to be your symbol of peace, huh? And, the news cameras, they would cut out, but there would be like leaked footage, and this would be like all over the internet. Like, this would be documented in history. So while it was stopped on like mainstream news media, there were like live streams and people like recording on their cell phones, like with really high quality, so you could still watch what was happening. Everyone tuned into YouTube. They were searching all over, like, what's happening with All Might. Everyone's watching. All the pros, like, all the pros that aren't on the floor. Endeavor's on the way, because Endeavor's like, there's no way I'm letting All Might die. Endeavor's on the way. Hawks is on the way. Mirko's on the way. Like, think of every powerful hero that's not there. They're on the way to try and help All Might, because the students are frozen in fear. They can't do anything. And Shigaraki basically says, this is your symbol of peace, huh? The person who kept the peace in Japan for years? The number one hero in the world? And he looks like this. If I, nothing but a 20-something-year-old kid with a pretty decently powerful quirk, can do this to the number one hero, what do you think me with an army can do to the entirety of Japan? My name is Tomura Shigaraki, and I have inherited the power of the most ruthless evil of all time, all for one. I will now use my decay power to erase All Might from existence and take his power. With this, I will be unbeatable, and the boost to my decay quirk will be insane. There will be no stopping me, and true liberation will fall over Japan. Rest in peace, All Might. And he would just decay All Might completely. And, Endeavor would literally show up like a split second later. Zenitsu would flash forward. Like, Zenitsu would flashed up like 1 second after Shigaraki decays All Might into dust. And, he would like grab some of All Might's dust. Like, he would he would go and grab All Might right as he turned into dust. So All Might's like dust and decay is all over Zenitsu's body, and he just went right past it. So it's like he just got like a dust cloud in his face, and it's All Might. And Bakugo would like go right near Shigaraki's face, and he would just like stop. And Endeavor would stop, and they would both be like damn near close to hitting Shigaraki. And Hawks would arrive on the scene. Some of the other heroes that were in the area would arrive on the scene. Night Eyes at his hideout just like bawling. The Shield family, like Melissa Shield, David Shield, they're bawling. Gran Torino's like, oh my god, what just happened? And the entire world is just in shock. And Deku just starts wailing tears. Like wailing tears. And everyone's just like, and Shigaraki looks at Bakugo, like Bakugo's like right next to him, and Bakugo's like, why? Like, what? Why All Might? All Might's the symbol of happiness, the symbol of purity. He's never done anything to hurt anybody. And, basically, Shigaraki would say, all heroes hurt people. They just hurt people who you think deserve it. And he would like just get like Kirigiri would use Warp Gate to get him out of there. And Shigaraki was basically using a quirk that it was basically called like Hunt, and it was a quirk that he had just recently stolen from a villain who refused to join their ranks because he didn't believe in Shigaraki's ideals, and he thought that Shigaraki was taking things too far with his liberation plan. He basically took the guy's quirk, and the quirk basically makes Shigaraki's physical strength stronger, like the stronger his opponent is. So of course, if he's trying to kill somebody like All Might, his physical strength will surpass All Might's. But it does like it does meet like a peak, like it does plateau. His strength does plateau, but after taking All Might's quirk, and here's where people are gonna get confused. Shigaraki did decay All Might and take One for All, but he didn't take the super regeneration. Don't get that twisted. The super regeneration was a fountain of youth. It wasn't a part of his quirk. But he did take One for All, but he took the version of One for All that All Might had. Just because he took All Might's version of One for All doesn't mean that he's gonna have Bakugo's powers. Basically he just has the enhancement. Since All Might's One for All was a less mature version, he won't be able to unlock the quirks of any of the vestiges or any of that. Only Bakugo will, but he does have like insane strength and speed. He's probably at this point, Shigaraki is as strong as Infinite 100%, like anytime he wants to, but it does like have an extreme strain on his body, and what he was just doing was like slowly breaking his body, so he will have to undergo a transformation to allow him to contain all this power. And that's when he's going to go into the chamber, like right after he leaves. Like they're going to start getting him ready for his transformation, so he can be able to use all of his power at 100% without any strain. Yeah, and it did boost his actual decay quirk, so he will be able to do those insane decay waves that you saw him be able to do in the manga if you read the manga, after he gets out of the chamber, which will take like damn near a year. So Shigaraki will not be a part of this story for a while, just to let y'all know. But anyways, Shigaraki teleports away using Warp Gate by Kirigiri, and everyone is just like in shock. And Zenitsu's just stood there with All Might's like dust. Like I know I'm laughing, but like with All Might's dust on his like body. And he's just frozen, and he like wakes up. Like for the first time ever, he forcibly exits his lightning mode, and he just like starts crying. And like the Hero Society is just shooken up, and Endeavor's just like stood there and just pure, like, what just happened? Like, what? All Might just got murdered in a vicious and cruel like fashion, and Night Eye called it. Like Night Eye is hurting. Night Eye's on sad nigga hours mode because he warned All Might, and All Might was like, nigga, I'm chilling, and then he wasn't chilling. He got caught lacking. He wasn't watching his jet. But yeah, that's Kamino. And after that day, Deku does heal all the heroes that were there. So Best Jeanist doesn't go away for a long time. Best Jeanist is still an active hero, but Japan is really shooken up, and they really do need a new symbol to burst onto the scene and just be a ray of hope for everybody. Mirio Togata. Mirio Togata. But yeah, All Might's dead. All Might is dead and All for One is dead, and it's now time for a new era to arise. When Shigaraki wakes up, the students will have been training for a year, and by the time we get to that point in this what if, I feel like our students will have grown a lot, and they will actually be able to take them. And the pros will have grown a lot, and we'll be able to take them. But damn. Rest in peace, All Might. Rest in peace, Toshinori, bruh. The greatest hero to ever live. We'll be talking about the repercussions and what happens after the Battle of Kamino, and Bakugo's reaction, and just everything in the next part. I'll see y'all.